Kicking off our countdown at number 10 is Mariah Carey. Back in 2010 at the Palm Springs International Film Festival, she won the award for her role in Precious. She played a social worker and was receiving the award for Breakthrough Actress. She tried to accept her award graciously, but that seemed difficult for her since she had one too many drinks. You could tell she was tipsy the minute she started talking, and the worst part was she was up there with the director of the movie, who just did not seem impressed at all. Mariah ended up apologizing in her speech, saying that it was all the splashes of champagne she had on an empty stomach. She did the best she could as she slurred her way through the speech. Rookie mistake though for drinking on an empty stomach. Like, that is rule number 1 in any drinking guide. Like, always eat, especially on one of the most important nights of your life. Moving on to number 9, we have Eminem. He has made a lot of headlines throughout his career, but this one was weird for everyone. In 2002, he made headlines that read, "Slim Shady fights a puppet." It was at the VMA Awards when the puppet, called Triumph the Insult Comic Dog, started making jokes at him about his feud with the techno artist Moby. Now, the man behind the puppet is comedy writer Robert Smigel, who was just doing his job insulting celebrities in a joking manner. But Eminem was not having the little skit, and he shoved the puppet out of his way, and then one of his friends grabbed Robert's notes and just tossed them into the air. Robert and his puppet were later asked about it during a press conference, and he said, "Try to be easy on Eminem. At the end of the day, he is just another white guy trying to make an honest living, stealing black people's music." Who knew a puppet could cause so much drama and make something that was supposed to be funny into something so serious? Although I can't even imagine Eminem tolerating some sort of insulting puppet. I just can't see him having the patience for that. Cruising into number 8, we have Natalie Portman. Throughout the years, many women in Hollywood have used award shows as an opportunity to call out the inequality within the industry between men and women. Oprah Winfrey did just that at the 2018 Golden Globe Awards, and many actresses have followed suit ever since then. So Natalie Portman thought she would do just that, but the timing for it didn't seem to be the best choice. Most people use their acceptance speech to talk about that, but she brought it up during the presentation of another award. She was on stage with director Ron Howard by her side, and it was their job to have a little conversation before announcing the winner for the Best Director category. Natalie used the opportunity to fake excitement over the fact that all the nominees in the category were men and not women. While her intentions were good, the timing was just super uncomfortable as the male director just awkwardly stood beside her and they presented the award to another male director. It was super awkward. Next up at number 7, we have Bob Dylan. Let me start off by saying this was no way his fault and he had no control over the situation. It was just bad luck that it happened during his performance. His career was not destroyed, but his performance definitely was. And the person to blame for that is a man named Michael Portnoy. He was a New York-based performance artist who jumped on stage during Bob Dylan's performance at the 1998 Grammy Awards. The musician was performing Lovesick with his band, and Michael removed his shirt and ran up on stage and began dancing with the words "soy bomb" painted on his bare chest. He began dancing in this very strange, robotic, contorted manner with his eyes closed, and he later said he used the words on his chest because soy represents dense nutritional life and he wanted art to represent dance, transformation, explosive life. His words, not mine. He was on stage for a total of 35 seconds before being removed by security. Bob Dylan stayed professional though, and he just kept playing as if the man was not right next to him. So props to him, handled it like a champ, but yeah, the performance was definitely, not great. Rolling into spot number 6, we have Nicole Kidman. One of the best parts about award shows is the camera capturing the reactions of audience members. We love to see how people react to other winners or how the losers in the category react to the loss. But sometimes these cameras capture the strangest reactions, and Nicole Kidman's is one of them. It was in 2017 that she made weird headlines after going to the Oscars. The headlines were talking about her very strange clap, which they they said looked like a seal clapping. As she sat in the audience next to her husband Keith Urban, she stood up from her chair and started clapping at those who were standing on stage receiving their awards. Bless her heart. That's a normal thing and a very kind thing, but when the camera panned to her and showed the world how she was clapping, it is all Twitter could talk about. Her fingers were pointed out to the side, like away from each other like this, and then when she was clapping, her hands didn't actually touch, so it looked like this. Nicole later said it was because she was wearing a huge ring that was not hers and she did not want to damage it. Halfway through our list at number 5, we have Winona Ryder. Speaking of weird reactions getting caught on camera, Winona is just another person who was caught acting a little bit strange. I can just imagine though what facial expressions like they would capture of me, so I'm in no position to judge. Her reaction was highly talked about at the 2017 SAG Awards. She had joined the cast of Stranger Things on stage to accept the award for outstanding performance by an ensemble in a drama series. When they all made their way to the stage, actor David Harbour was giving the speech and her reaction to it was hilarious. Her expressions went from confusion to disgust to fear to joy and then back to confusion. It was hard to focus on the man giving the speech because her roller coaster of emotions was just so much more fun to watch. Cruising into spot number 4, we have Marlon Brando. This one caused a huge controversy, so your opinion might differ from someone else's. At the 1973 Oscar Awards, apparently he wasn't interested in accepting the award for his movie The Godfather. So instead of him going up and accepting his award, he sent Sacheen Littlefeather, a 26-year-old Native American activist and aspiring actress. She didn't quite give an acceptance speech though, it was actually quite the opposite. She read excerpts from a letter that was prepared by Marlon rejecting the award because of the treatment of American Indians today by the film industry. As she was reading, the audience gave her mixed emotions, with some people booing and some people applauding. A lot of people were just very confused as to why he would reject an Oscars award, and if he was going to do that, then they said that he should be the one to do so. Let me know what you guys think about this, because I'm actually curious on, your opinion. Making their way into number 3 is Frank Capra. The Academy Awards is probably a time when you want to use last names when presenting an award, especially when you're using a common name like Frank. An incredibly awkward and embarrassing moment happened to Frank Capra in 1934 when he thought he had won an award that he actually didn't. Will Rogers presented the Best Director award by saying, "Come up and get it, Frank." Frank Capra was nominated for Lady for a Day and just assumed that he meant it was him who won the award, so he started walking towards the stage. But the award was actually for Frank Lloyd. Frank Capra actually talked about this moment in his memoir, describing the very painful moment of returning to his seat, and he called it the longest, saddest, most shattering walk of shame in his life. That is the ultimate walk of shame. There's no recovering from that. Up next, number 2, we have Taylor Swift. Don't worry, Frank, you are not the only one who thought an award was for them when it wasn't. Taylor Swift also got ahead of herself at the 2014 Grammy Awards. She was one of the nominees for the Best Album category, and her album Red was the center of attention, so she probably felt that she had a very good chance of winning. As Alicia Keys read out the winner, the name of the album began with an R, so Taylor and her team thought they won the award and immediately just started celebrating. It was super awkward because the camera captured them celebrating right away, but then they quickly realized that it actually was not her album at all, and they did not actually win the award. It just started with an R, and they got ahead of themselves. In our number 1 spot is Robert Opel. I don't think anything ruins a career as much as streaking does. That is right, this activist ran on stage naked in 1974 at the Oscar Awards. That takes some guts to say the least. The Oscar host David Niven was on stage and he was trying to introduce someone, and people in the audience just randomly started screaming in shock. Robert ran on stage naked right behind David, flashing the peace sign. It was a moment that went down in history, but how David handled it was actually everyone's favorite part. After the streaking moment was over, David said to the crowd, "The only laugh that man will ever get in his life is by stripping off and showing his shortcomings." He deserves an award just for how he handled that situation.
And at number 10, we have Sacha Baron Cohen. Sacha Baron Cohen, who is known for his outrageous comedic stunts actually got banned from the Oscars because they were too afraid that he would do something crazy on the red carpet. It was reported that a few days before the 84th Academy Awards, Baron Cohen's tickets were pulled, meaning that he was banned from the show, even though he's an Academy member and was one of the stars of Hugo, one movie up for Best Picture. With the statement from the Oscars reading, quote, "Unless they're assured that nothing entertaining is going to happen on the red carpet, the Academy is not admitting Sacha Baron Cohen to the show." This came after rumors were swirling that Baron Cohen would show up in a costume on the red carpet. So I mean, maybe that was a little valid, they need to protect their show. And at number 9, Kanye West. So as we know, Kanye West is famous for his incident interrupting Taylor Swift on stage at the MTV VMAs, and embarrassing both of them. So after a crazy event like that, it's not hard to assume that he was banned from award shows for a long time after. It's such a common theory that a satire site, the Adobe Chronicles, even published an article saying that he was banned from all award shows after he interrupted someone yet again on stage at the 2015 Grammy Awards, with them saying in the article that all the TV networks have joined the, quote, West boycott. And even though banning Kanye would make a lot of sense, it hasn't officially happened, but after having incidents in 2009 and 2015, I'm sure networks are hesitant to invite West to any awards. And I would assume he's banned from ever presenting, that's for sure. And at number 8, Richard Gere. Richard Gere was not only banned from the Oscars, but also China after he made a controversial speech at the awards ceremony. In 1993, Gere was presenting on stage, but he took the time to criticize the Chinese government and speak in support of Tibet. After this speech, Gere was banned from the Oscars for years, until he was allowed to return in 2013 to present an award with his castmate from Chicago. During that period of exile, he continued to speak out on behalf of Tibet and other international causes. So I guess the ban didn't change much about him being vocal, just not on the Oscars stage. And at number 7, Carmine Caridi. Actor Carmine Caridi was actually the first person to ever be kicked out of the Academy. He was expelled in 2004 because the Academy learned that he was sharing movie screeners with other people, which are obviously very against the rules. Caridi spoke to The Hollywood Reporter about the incident, saying in the interview, quote, "Let me tell you something. Everybody does it, okay? I was doing a guy a favor and he screwed me." And this was actually starting to become a real issue in the industry, with the former MPAA chief imposing a ban on all screeners to combat piracy, with the Academy members being the only people allowed screeners. Apparently Caridi gave them to a man that would copy them for himself and then send them back to Caridi. Caridi was also sued by all major studios for the action, so clearly if you're ever in that position, just follow the rules. I mean, it's really not that hard. And at number 6, Miley Cyrus. When the 2020 Grammy Awards went down, tons of fans were wondering why Miley Cyrus wasn't in attendance, although she wasn't nominated, performing, or presenting, so there could have been a host of reasons. But Miley decided to call out all award shows when she posted a video of her on stage presenting at the MTV VMAs, lighting up a smoke on stage during the performance, with that obviously being a throwback picture, with the caption reading, quote, "And we wonder why I'm not invited to award shows anymore." But of course, tons of celebrities loved the subtle shade and commented their support on her Instagram post, with Alexander Wang writing, quote, "Don't ever change," and Lisa Rinna writing, "I'd have you at mine if I had one." Halfway at number 5, Schitt's Creek. It's impossible to think that this lovable group of Canadian icons was almost left out of an award show because of the show's name. But that's actually what happened. At the Emmy Awards, they were so adamant about the rule that there would be no swearing in their broadcast that they almost banned the name Schitt's Creek from the show. When host Jimmy Kimmel mentioned Schitt's Creek, which was nominated for 15 Emmy Awards, the show's logo appeared on the screen, all this so nobody would mistake for, shit. Like, honestly, we might have had to bleep out Schitt's Creek too, the way that I'm saying it. It's meant to sound like that. Jimmy Kimmel even found it so ridiculous that he even made a joke that this kind of censorship is why network TV is dying. And at number 4, The Weeknd. Even though The Weeknd had a phenomenal year and his album After Hours got commercial and critical success, he was noticeably absent from Grammy nominations. People have a lot of theories as to why they think that this happened, but most of them think the Grammys blacklisted the star because he went against them, even though his past Grammy recognition has been stellar, with him having 3 wins and 10 nominations in total. One reason is that The Weeknd was very critical of the Grammys in an interview for the Rolling Stone, talking about their category changes, saying, quote, "R&B and black music is such a wide variety. If they pull us all into one category, I still think it's not fair. We'll see how it goes." Maybe his comments were why he wasn't included. Another theory is surrounding the Super Bowl, as the star was picked to perform at both the Grammys and the Super Bowl. A massive honor, obviously. But people think that the Grammys didn't like the way it was negotiated, and decided to shaft the singer for choosing the Super Bowl over the Grammys, essentially. And at number 3, Tiffany Haddish. Tiffany Haddish called out the Grammys big time after she was asked to host the Grammy Awards premiere ceremony, but turned down the offer after being told that she would have to pay her own way there. After this was brought up in the media, Recording Academy interim chief Harvey Mason Jr. posted a public apology on social media, saying he was unaware of that offer, saying in the Instagram video, quote, "It's just been brought to my attention that the Recording Academy invited Tiffany Haddish to host this year's premiere ceremony. Unfortunately, and without my knowing, the talent booker working the Academy told Ms. Haddish that we wouldn't even cover her costs while she hosted this event for us, adding that it's wrong and he's ashamed of that decision." Haddish commented back later saying, quote, "All of that would have to come out of my pocket. I don't know if this might mean I might not get nominated ever again, but I think it's disrespectful." Based on the way it played out with public support being on Tiffany's side, I think she'll still be good in the graces of the award show, but hey, they might take the embarrassment out on her instead. Who really knows? And at number 2, PricewaterhouseCoopers accountants. Back in 2017, the Oscars had one of their worst blunders to date when the Oscar award for Best Picture temporarily went to the wrong film, which was the fault of the accountants who were supposed to ensure the winners were announced correctly. After the embarrassing mistake, the Oscars banned the 2 accountants who were backstage at the Oscars for not rectifying the situation soon enough. Brian Cullinan was the accountant that gave the card to the presenter, causing the whole situation. But the other accountant, Martha Ruiz, did not directly cause the situation, but she didn't do enough to fix it after it happened. When talking about the ban, the Academy said, quote, "I'm sure they're very lovely people, but they just didn't have the disposition for this. You need someone who's going to be confident and unafraid," one of those sources told The Wrap, explaining that Martha failed to react to the drama fast enough. And that was, of course, La La Land getting the award instead of Moonlight that actually won that year. And finally, at number 1, Ricky Gervais. Ricky Gervais is probably banned from hosting any more award shows ever after his shocking monologue at the Golden Globe Awards in January of 2020. In the monologue, he starts off by saying it's his 5th time hosting, and he really doesn't care anymore, which he made very clear by saying he didn't care like every few minutes of the monologue. Starting off saying, quote, "You'll be pleased to know that this is my last time hosting these awards. I don't care anymore." I'm joking, I never did. NBC clearly didn't either, 5th time. In the monologue, he took shots at basically all the people in attendance, even calling the Hollywood Foreign Press Association racist and saying that Netflix is taking over Hollywood. Saying at one point the show is going to be doing a quote in memoriam this year, but when I saw the list of who died, it wasn't diverse enough. Then going on to trash action movies, saying, quote, "They wear masks and capes and really tight costumes. Their job isn't acting anymore. It's going to the gym twice a day and taking steroids." And yeah, after calling the people that hired you racist, I don't think he's expecting a callback.
Kicking off our countdown at number 10 is Nicki Minaj. Celebrity drama happens all the time, but there is a time and place when to get into it with one another. Most people would agree that during an award show is the last place that you should bring up some drama from the media. It was during the 2015 VMA Awards when Miley Cyrus was hosting the show and found herself in a scandal right in the middle of it. Nicki was accepting the award for Best Hip Hop Video for Anaconda when she looked across the room to the other stage that Miley was on and said, "And now back to this that had a lot to say about me in the press the other day. Miley, what's good?" The whole room fell silent and it was just so awkward to watch. You could tell Miley was in complete shock and she tried her best to just say that the media will turn your words into something that they are not, and then she just kind of like continued on with the show. It was super awkward. Like what? Why would you call someone out in the middle of an award show? Ladies, just discuss it later on. Up next, number 9, we have Johnny Depp. The actor shocked everyone when he showed up to the Hollywood Film Awards in 2014 and gave a very strange speech. He took the stage to present the documentary award for Mike Myers' documentary Supermensch: The Legend of Shep Gordon, but he stumbled his way through the speech. He was stumbling over his words, slurring and swearing, all things that you don't expect to see while someone is giving out an important award. But yeah, he appeared wobbly from the start, to be honest, as he struggled with the microphone and called it the weirdest microphone he has ever seen in his life, as if he has never stood in front of one before. Other celebrities and fans took this speech to Twitter, saying that he should be embarrassed and that he came across as an arrogant drunk. Reports say that he had made his way to the bar before hitting the stage, but most people honestly already concluded that, like, on their own. If you watch the speech, you would already know he had a few drinks. Sliding into number 8, we have Miguel Adorn. This one ended in a lawsuit, so it had more of an impact on his bank account than his reputation. The video is hard to watch, but it is a must-see. Our video would get claimed for copyright, but I will provide as many hilarious pictures as possible. Go watch the clip after this video though. Honestly, it is worth the fail. It's worth the watch. It was at the Billboard Music Awards in 2013 when he jumped off the stage and ended up landing on a woman's face. Well, he actually landed on 2 women, but one of them took the brunt of the fall. Of course, it was totally an accident. He was supposed to land on the other stage, not a person, but the victim sued him, and 2 years later in 2015, he was facing a lawsuit for negligence. The lawsuit claimed that the victim faced injuries, medical expenses, possible future medical expenses, loss of wages, and loss of personal property, and loss of enjoyment of life. The lawsuit was worth $10,000. $10,000 for jumping off the stage. Bruh. Like, did you not plan if you missed that jump, what would happen? There's people underneath you. Moving on to number 7, we have Tiffany Haddish. The hilarious actress made headlines after the 2018 Oscars, but for reasons that she probably regrets. She joined Andy Serkis on stage to announce the nominations for the 90th Academy Awards, but the way she mispronounced names on some of the nominees had people roasting her on Twitter. She couldn't pronounce a few different names, but she remained in good spirits while she tried a few times to just get it right. Other celebrities and fans went on Twitter to laugh at her Oscar flub and wondered how she even got them that wrong. However, while some people were laughing, other people weren't. He tweeted, "This is brutal watching Tiffany Haddish mispronounce everything during these Oscar announcements. It was disrespectful and pathetic." What do you guys think? Like, is it disrespectful and pathetic? Are you with them, or would you laugh it off and be like, we're human? Some people can't pronounce names. Like me. Making her way into number 6 is Jacqueline Bisset. We can't deny that a lot of celebrities want to be the biggest player in the game, so winning an award for their career is probably one of the most important things to ever receive. Which is why many of them will spend hours trying to draft up an acceptance speech in case they win the award. They can be prepared when they go up on stage. Well, Jacqueline seemed to be one of these celebrities who prepared, but hers was way longer than anyone expected. She won the award for the Best Actress in a Supporting Role at the 2014 Golden Globes, and her speech could just not be stopped. News articles spoke on how long her speech was, and people talked about it on social media, saying that it went on for what seemed like hours. While people were happy to see her win the award, the speech just came off as a total fail. I appreciate, you want to thank everyone and you deserve that moment to win. But yeah, there is a time limit, I feel like, where people just stop listening. Halfway through our list, number 5 is Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway. A mistake that could happen to anyone, so this one really isn't their fault, but they had to take the heat for it because they were the presenters. They were presenting at the 2017 Oscars, and apparently they were given the wrong envelope and mistakenly announced that La La Land had won Best Picture. They were actually given a copy of an envelope that declared Emma Stone on Best Actress for La La Land, but that award had already been announced, so there was just a big mix-up with envelopes. It was a very uncomfortable thing to watch because La La Land was giving their acceptance speech, but then got cut short, and then Moonlight was declared to be the actual winner. Announcing the wrong winner at the Oscars, I don't think it gets much worse than that. That would be like my biggest fear. Oh, how awkward, because then they're celebrating and then you just take their award back and be like, oops, sorry, you actually didn't win. Awkward. In spot number 4, we have Rami Malek. He has been a big player in the game for a while now, but his role as Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody really put him on the map. He was nominated for countless awards at the 2019 Oscar Awards and even walked away with a few wins to his name. Unfortunately, he also walked away with some bruises. Bruises on his body and some bruises to his ego. As he made his way to the center of the stage to collect his award, it seemed like he was in a rush to get back to his seat and his girlfriend. In his rush back, he so happened to fall off the stage and completely tumbled to the ground with with his award in hand. Falling off the Oscar stage is definitely up there for one of the most embarrassing things that could happen to an actor when winning an award. Like if I won an award, my biggest fear would be the speech and then literally not falling, especially because I'd be in a dress. Jennifer Lawrence, I'm thinking about you, girl. Taking over the third spot is Ryan Seacrest. I am all for a little bit of innocent self-promotion, but there is a time and a place, and I don't know if the Oscars is the place for that. In one aspect, the promotion opportunity is huge because it's the Oscars, but some people would say it's just not very classy. Ryan Seacrest had no problem with it and used his hosting opportunity to his advantage. At the 2019 Oscar Awards, he was doing what he always does by interviewing celebrities on the red carpet and asking them who they are wearing so that they can promote the designers. But people said Ryan went a little overboard and used a lot of his screen time to plug his new suit line. Most people want to hear about the world's biggest designers, but Ryan wanted people to know that he had a new suit line. He even dished on where they could buy it, and fans let him know on social media just how annoying it was. Making their way into number 2 is Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. Their performance at the 2019 Oscar Awards was one of the most talked about moments for a few different reasons, some good and some bad. The world saw them perform the song Shallow from their movie A Star Is Born, and everyone praised their beautiful performance. But it raised a lot of eyebrows because of how romantic it seemed. People immediately flooded social media with claims that they were in a romantic relationship with one another, which obviously caused a lot of controversy because they were both in other relationships with other people at the time. People were very confused why they would perform as their characters that were in love when they were just there to perform as Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. But Gaga later explained and said, "We mapped the whole thing out. It was orchestrated as a performance. For me, as a performer and as an actress, of course we wanted people to believe that we were in love. But the world was convinced that something more was going on between them. If you guys saw it, let me know what you think." In our number 1 spot is Angelina Jolie. This is by far the weirdest story I've ever had to write about on this channel, and I'm surprised I'm just finding out about it for the first time, seeing as I have been doing these videos for over 2 years. Angelina both shocked and confused the world in 2000 when she attended the Oscar Awards and kissed her brother on the lips. But not like a quick greeting kiss, no, like a big, romantic, weird kiss. She had won the award for Best Supporting Actress that night, and in her acceptance speech, she gave thanks to her brother, who she claimed to be in love with. She said, I quote, "I'm in shock and I'm so in love with my brother right now. He just held me and said he loved me and I know he's happy for me and thank you for that." Then later in the evening, she posed for photographers with her award in hand and her brother by her side, and that is when they shared the epic kiss on the lips. After it flooded the media, she went on to say that it was nothing more than brotherly and that her parents loved the picture. I'm uncomfortable. I have a brother, and there is no way. I love him to death. One of my best friends, my God, and he would be just as happy for me if I won an award, but there's no freaking way I'm wrapping my arms around him and kissing him like he my man. That is weird.
All right, and at number 10, we have Kristen Stewart. Kristen Stewart did the unthinkable after winning her 2009 MTV Movie Award. She dropped and broke it. Kristen had won the award for Best Female Performance, and after she gave her speech, she went to walk off and dropped the award. Apparently the drop actually wasn't that big of a deal because recipients don't take the award home with them, it gets engraved and then shipped to them later. But a rep with the award said that when Kristen received her brand new award, she was actually disappointed because they didn't give her the one that broke. Kristen's mother even called to try and get the broken award tracked down, but they never did. All in all, fans weren't too shocked because Bella would have done the exact same thing. Bella Swan, that is. And at number 9, Angelina Jolie. Angelina Jolie had everyone in shock when she kissed her brother multiple times at the Oscars. And when I say kiss, I mean kiss on the lips. Her brother James Haven was her date at the Oscars that night, and they had kissed many times on the red carpet. Then Angelina won an award for her role in Girl Interrupted and made an interesting comment about her brother during her speech, saying, quote, "I'm in shock and I'm so in love with my brother right now. He just held me and said he loved me, and I know he's so happy for me, and thank you for that." Kinda strange thing to say in an acceptance speech, but okay. After the moment became condemned online, Jolie clarified that her parents loved seeing them kiss, adding, quote, "It wasn't some odd open-mouthed kiss. It was disappointing that something so beautiful and pure could be turned into a circus." You guys let me know your thoughts on this one below. I'm sure it's very controversial. And at number 8, Britney Spears, Madonna, and Christina Aguilera. One of the most iconic moments that ever took place at an award show was the kiss between Madonna and Britney Spears in 2003. A lot of people don't actually know that after the Britney kiss, Madonna then kissed Christina Aguilera as well, although that kiss was barely caught on camera. Apparently, fans thought Britney found the kiss between Madonna and Christina a little awkward because she didn't expect it, but it was all so fast that I doubt anyone even noticed. This moment has went down in history for being very controversial, but over the years people started to care way less about the scandalous kiss. And at number 7, John Travolta. When you're presenting an award at an award show, immense pressure is on the presenter to get everything right. One thing that might be a given is to get the nominees' names right. But for whatever reason, John Travolta was not prepped on how to say Idina Menzel's name and totally butchered it. While introducing Menzel for a performance at the 2014 Oscars, Travolta welcomed, quote, "the wickedly talented one and only Adele Dazeem." Interestingly enough, the blunder significantly raised awareness of Menzel, and she commented, quote, "It's definitely one of those welcome happy mistakes that changed my life," she told the New York Post. She joked that the name caught her off guard for a few seconds, but she still powered through her performance anyway. And at number 6, Katherine Heigl. Back in 2010, Katherine Heigl suffered a serious wardrobe malfunction in the middle of her acceptance speech. Katherine won the award for Female Star of the Year at the Show West convention, and as she was going up on stage, one strap of her dress just snapped, and she was left holding it in place while she tried to give her speech, so she wouldn't flash everyone at the show. Thankfully, the host of the event, Billy Bush, stepped in to help and grabbed the back of her strap so she could get a few words in without holding herself together. After the speech, she went backstage and found a pin to secure things in place and looked perfect in the photo showing off her award. Thankfully, disaster was avoided here. Halfway at number 5, Marissa Tomei. Before we had the infamous Moonlight La La Land mix-up, there was a popular conspiracy theory going around claiming that Marissa Tomei did not actually win her 1993 Oscar. Rather, the presenter messed up and everyone just went along with it. The reason everyone thought there was a conspiracy was because Tomei was the underdog and wasn't the favorite to win. She was actually the least expected because all the actresses in her category were much more experienced than her. The biggest reason this gained traction was the day after the show, The Hollywood Reporter printed a blind item about rumors flying in Manhattan that she hadn't really won. They claimed that the presenter Jack Palance was too intoxicated to read it right, so he just read the last name as the winner. It was such a big rumor the Academy had to deny it many times. After the La La Land mix-up, we know if she really didn't win, someone would have made it right. And at number 4, Ian Somerhalder. This incident seemed super shady at first, but once you watch the clip over, it seems more like a misunderstanding. During the 2014 Teen Choice Awards, Ariana Grande won an award and ran up on stage to get her surfboard. Ian Somerhalder was the person that was giving her the award, and as she ran up on stage, it looked like Ian was attempting to kiss her on the lips, so Ariana decided to swerve and give him a cheek kiss instead. After the mishap, many felt the whole incident was kinda shady, but after looking at the clip a few times, I think Ian was just going for one side of the cheek, and Ariana was so confused so she offered up her other cheek, making it look a lot more shady than it actually was, but the infamous moment is still memed to this day. And at number 3, Nicole Kidman. One of the things people love to do most is mock anything strange that they see celebrities do at award shows. The strangest thing that's ever been seen is Nicole Kidman clapping. During the 2017 Oscars, after Meryl Streep won an award, the whole audience was clapping. But when the camera turned to show Kidman, her clapping was very strange. Her hands were stretched out and she was only clapping with the palms of her hands, but not her fingers, kinda like this. Because of the angle, her hands also looked insanely long, somewhat reptilian-like. After the meme blew up, she explained that she was loaned some expensive jewelry and didn't want to scratch it by clapping, adding, quote, "I was like, gosh, I want to clap, I don't want to not be clapping, which would be worse, right? Why isn't Nicole Kidman clapping?" And at number 2, Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj had everyone on edge when she took the time during her 2015 VMA acceptance speech to call out the host Miley Cyrus. The call out was because Miley made some negative comments about her in the press. While accepting her award for Best Hip Hop Video, Nicki Minaj finished off saying, quote, "And now back to this bee that had a lot to say about me in the press the other day. Miley, what's good?" Miley handled it very well and quickly congratulated Nicki on the win and said the media twisted her words. Miley's original comments were relating to Nicki's feud with Taylor Swift. In that interview, Miley called out Nicki for not being very nice, which I guess she kinda proved at the award show. And finally, number 1, Michael Moore. Michael Moore is best known for his controversial documentaries. He actually won an award for one of those documentaries, Bowling for Columbine, at the 2003 Oscars. And many weren't surprised when he took his opportunity on stage to make a political statement. He said, quote, "We live in fictitious times where we have fictitious election results that elects a fictitious president," he said of then President George W. Bush, even bashing Bush for sending the country to war for quote fictitious reasons. And even though you'd expect a liberal crowd like the attendees at the Oscars to eat up his anti-conservative message, they actually booed him off stage. Many think this reaction was because 9/11 recently happened before that, and the country was united against their common enemy.
Kicking off our list, number 10 is Steve Harvey. He has many years of hosting on his resume, so he was the perfect candidate to host the 2015 Miss Universe pageant. But even with years of experience, that was not enough to prevent this from happening. He went to announce the winner of the national contest, but accidentally said the wrong person. He was just reading from a card and didn't notice it until after the whole crowd and Miss Universe was already celebrating her win. Like, she literally had the crown on her head already. He then had to announce to everyone that she was not the winner, and it was just incredibly awkward and embarrassing. It was hard to even witness and watch the clip. He came under a lot of fire for the mistake, and people were even booing him while he was on stage. They even had to awkwardly remove the crown from Miss Colombia and then put it on Miss Philippines' head, and it was just one of like the most cringe-worthy moments I've ever seen happen at an award show. Steve, of course, took full responsibility and said that he read the card wrong, but people were not happy about it. Sliding into number 9 is John Travolta. He can't blame this mistake on reading a card wrong. This mistake is something he had to take full responsibility for. We're not sure how it happened, but John was in charge of introducing an artist at the 2014 Oscar Awards. Idina Menzel was performing her iconic song, Let It Go, from the Disney movie Frozen, which actually went on to win the Oscar for Best Original Song. So her performance was a big deal, and one that she as a performer would probably always remember. Except she won't, because John did not say her name when he announced her performance. He did say a name, but it wasn't hers. I'm not sure what explanation he had, but he mispronounced her name and said something completely different. He announced her as Adele Dazeem. Her name is Idina Menzel. He did apologize to her after the awards, and they went on to make a joke out of it at a future Oscar award show. In our number 8 spot is Neil Patrick Harris. The Oscars are one of the biggest award shows in the industry, and it's safe to say that all celebrities dress up for the evening, wearing long gowns and tailored suits. But Neil had a different attire in mind for the evening and went on stage in nothing but his underwear. He did a sketch that was a spoof from the Best Picture winner, Birdman, and it ended with him in little white briefs facing the audience in his underwear. People were shocked, as some would say the Oscars might not have been the time and place for something like that, but some people still had a good laugh. People were probably just worried how he would behave at future talk shows if he was asked to host or announce another winner. It probably wasn't the most appropriate choice for the event, but he did it with confidence. Cruising into number 7 is Lady Gaga. Her meat dress has gone down in history for a few different reasons, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, let me fill you in or refresh your memory. Lady Gaga showed up to the 2010 MTV Music Awards in a dress that was made out of raw meat. Not only the dress, but she had a matching headpiece and boots that were also red, bloody looking raw meat. A lot of people were offended by it, especially vegetarians and vegans, as you can imagine. Animal rights activists were also disgusted and angry about her decision, and she had a lot of explaining to do in the media after that. She went on the Ellen DeGeneres show after the awards and said it was no disrespect to anyone who is vegan or vegetarian, and said it was tied to her protest against the military's Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. She also explained that it went with her recent cover for Vogue Japan, Japan, where she wore a meat bikini to symbolize that she is not a piece of meat, although she's wearing a piece of meat. While people could appreciate the message that she was trying to put out there may have been a better way of going about it. Moving on to number 6, we have Katy Perry. She definitely stole the show at the 2008 Latin American Awards, and all for the wrong reasons. She is known for being an epic performer who usually has a lot of fun costumes and props incorporated into her performances. So when she showed up to the awards and brought a giant cake on stage during her performance, people weren't that surprised. But they were surprised with what happened as the song went on. She started by standing above the giant pink cake, which was real by the way, and during the song she jumps on it, doing a belly flop directly into the cake. After she climbed out of the cake, she could not walk or stand because she was covered in icing and kept slipping. Her guitar player was trying to help her stand up, but every time she got up, she fell again. She ended up having to crawl off the stage. Halfway through our list, at number 5 is Kristen Stewart. One of the most embarrassing things that can happen to an artist is dropping the award when winning it. A speech can be enough pressure when you win an award, having to walk up on stage and gracefully put into words what it means to you while an entire crowd watches you and the world watches you behind their screens. Kristen won Best Female Performance at the 2009 MTV Movie Awards and won herself a golden popcorn statue. While she was accepting her award, she ended up dropping her golden popcorn statue and it broke. Viewers gasped and it was just very awkward and an embarrassing moment to watch, but she did handle it with grace. The woman in charge of handling the trophies, Susanna Della Rosa, said they actually shipped the awards back to New York before the artist actually gets them to engrave them. So Kristen did receive a new one that was not broken. Up next, number 4 is Jennifer Lawrence. Bless her heart, she had one of the most embarrassing moments captured on camera for the world to see, but she did handle it like a champ. It was at the Oscar Awards when she was called up on stage to receive the Best Actress Award for her role in The Silver Lining Playbook. That's a moment that every artist probably dreams about and plans out in their head how they would do it. She could have rehearsed winning the award as many times as she wanted, but it still wasn't enough to prevent her fall from happening. That is right, as she was walking up the stairs on the stage to get her award, she tripped and fell down. She ended up just staying on the stairs for a minute on the ground, just laughing to herself and covering her face from the camera. After the award, she explained what happened and said that she remembers her stylist telling her to kick and walk, meaning kick the dress out while you walk, and she just got distracted and forgot. The dress tucked under her feet and she went down. It was pretty much game over from there. Taking over the number 3 spot is Madonna. Speaking of falling, another beautiful woman who happened to fall during the worst time possible in front of the whole world. This one was painful to watch for a few reasons. 1, because it is so embarrassing and you just feel so bad for her, and 2, because she fell down a set of stairs backwards, which we can imagine would be very painful. It was during her performance at the 2015 Brit Awards when she was wearing a cape that was apparently tied too tight around her neck. What was supposed to happen was she was going to untie the cape at the top of the stairs and the dancers were to pull the cape off of her from the bottom of the stairs. Well, they did that, but the cape did not come undone. Madonna later explained what happened and said she was told to tie the cape tighter so that it wouldn't fall off throughout the performance. So when she went to untie it, it did not come undone, but the dancers were pulling it, so they basically strangled her and yanked her backwards, and that is how she fell. She ended up hitting the back of her head on the floor and had whiplash from it. She was okay, but she did vow to never perform using a cape ever again. Sliding into number 2 is Miley Cyrus. Her 2013 VMAs performance with Robin Thicke was one of the most talked about performances of all time. It caused a ton of controversy, way more than anyone ever expected. Miley went on stage in a skin-colored two-piece and twerked on Robin Thicke while holding a giant foam finger. That's just a little piece of the whole performance, so go watch it. People threw Miley in the fire for her outfit, her actions, which were pretty provocative, and dancing on Robin, who was a married man. When I say she received heat for it, I mean she took the heat for it. She explained they were both in rehearsals prior to that and said that he had no problem with the twerking and choreography, so it didn't make sense that she was just getting heat for the fact that he is married. The performance was one to remember, to say the least, and if you have not seen it, go watch. It's pretty epic. Earning the #1 place on our list is Kanye West. It was back in 2009 at the MTV Awards when Kanye did the unthinkable and started a feud that lasted for a decade. Taylor Swift won an award which she was really excited about, but then Kanye had to take that excitement away from her. While she was giving her acceptance speech, Kanye climbed on the stage, took the mic from her, and announced to everyone that he thinks Beyonce should have won the award. He let everyone know that Beyonce's music video for Put a Ring on It was one of the best videos of all time. The audience was in complete shock, including Beyonce, who just looked completely mortified and embarrassed. Taylor looked shocked and honestly didn't even know what to say. Beyonce later apologized to Taylor on Kanye's behalf because she had nothing to do with it and was happy for Taylor receiving her award. Kanye, however, did not apologize. Starting off the list #10, we have singer and songwriter Ed Sheeran. He has confessed during an interview that American and British award shows are much different from each other. He states that in England they don't care who really wins or loses and it's just spent having a good night out. That being said, Ed's experience with American award shows is that it's just not a good atmosphere apparently, and he said that everyone is not nice. Just after his 2021 VMAs performance, he explained that he doesn't enjoy American award shows and doesn't feel like he will attend that many more in the future. The musician explained that the atmosphere was quite uncomfortable and that there's a feeling in the room that everybody wants other people to fail, and so he just doesn't like that and doesn't want to be a part of it. So honestly, it's like he's removed himself from award shows, which is fair. Taken on the #9 spot is Justin Bieber. The pop star has actually been recognized by the Academy and has been nominated 3 times for a Grammy and won once. Justin was nominated again back in 2017 for his album Purpose for Album of the Year and Best Vocal Pop Album, while his song Love Yourself was also nominated for Song of the Year and additionally for Best Pop Solo Performance. With 4 nominations under his belt for the 2017 award show, Justin was a no-show. The star didn't show up to the ceremony because in Justin's eyes it's apparently irrelevant and does not do a good job at representing young singers. Now, moving on to 2021, Justin was nominated for a pop category, though he felt this was wrong and released a statement saying he should fall under R&B instead. Even with the nomination again, it was said that he would not be attending again for similar and additional reasons. Moving on to our #8 spot is The Weeknd. Before the 2021 Grammy Awards ceremony, The Weeknd announced that he would be boycotting the show and any future events or ceremonies held by them after he received no nominations for his well-received album After Hours. Sounds a little like sore loser to me. His album broke numerous records while his song Blinding Lights stayed on the Billboard Top 10 list for an entire year. Okay, so maybe he deserved an award. I should note that this historic accomplishment has not been met by anyone else, so he probably deserved an award. Therefore, when the artist was not seen on the nominations list, he felt annoyed, and his words were that it was because of their corrupt system. The musician made a statement saying that he believes that the public and other people in the industry need to see the system as it is and how you have to play for the win. It was announced that he will remain disinterested in being part of the Grammys and will no longer submit his work in the future. Quickly moving on to #7, we have Kim Kardashian. Could you believe that there was once a time when Kim Kardashian was banned from the Met Gala? Well, you better believe it, because Anna Wintour herself resented the Kardashians and refused to let them attend the show as she didn't want any reality TV stars at her events back then, because she just had TikTok star Addison Rae this year. Though Kim made it into the event in 2013 on a technicality as her partner Kanye West was performing, and even Wintour herself could not deny entry to the headliners +1. This technicality of Kim making her way into the Met Gala without a formal invite was met with Kim being forbidden from attending the next gala due to Anna's sort of hatred towards her. so articles say. That being said, with the growing popularity of Kim Kardashian and her wildly known sisters, they would finally be able to formally go to the infamous Met Gala event, and Kim and her sisters would go on to have fashion moment staples at the event pretty much every year. Moving down the list, number 6, we have James Franco. In 2011, the actor hosted alongside Anne Hathaway for the Oscars. After the show, it would go down in history as one of the worst hosting jobs in Oscar history. The two ended up hosting to try to appeal to a younger crowd, as at the time, the pair were both at the peak in their personal careers. That being said, the night did not go as planned, as the two of them were constantly at odds during the show, leading to some very awkward moments. According to rumors, there was a lot of tension behind the scenes between Anne and James, which led to the disaster that was their hosting job. Though James is the one making this list instead of Anne, and that was due to his lack of professionalism, as Anne always showed up to rehearsals and committed 100% of herself, while it was said that Franco, on the other hand, didn't care as much and was quite lazy when it came to the show. Their complete opposite personalities did not work in their favor. Now, James Franco was never banned from attending the award show, but he was definitely not asked to host again, and honestly, ever since the Me Too lawsuits came against him in recent years, he hasn't really been invited back to anything. So, making it to the halfway point at number 5 is Frank Ocean. The mysterious singer and songwriter has been considered one of the best musicians of the decade, yet has never showed up to an award show. When Frank's debut album, Blonde, was released, the artist didn't even bother submitting his work to be nominated. So why is this? Well, the singer critiques the infrastructure of the award and nomination system, stating that he doesn't feel that award shows well represent diversity. Because of this, despite nominations and 2 winning Grammy Awards, the singer has not stopped his boycott and continued to stand against the Academy for their lack of representation. Following Frank Ocean not showing up to his Grammy Win Awards ceremony, the producer of the Grammy Awards criticized him, saying that he should in fact show up and perform in order to better represent himself. That being said, Frank's little interest with his winnings has led him to not be blinded by the success, and the boycott continues. At number 4 on our countdown is Kanye West. Now, we all know that Kanye is not new to controversies or media headlines, but this incident was caused due to many stunts from Kanye. Over the course of the musician's career in the industry, he has won over 21 Grammys, but has always lost when he was up against certain artists. Additionally, Kanye has been known for stating his hatred for the structure of the music industry and how little musicians actually have power because their record label owns all of their work. In 2015 at the Grammy Awards, the artist would make his opinion on the industry very clear by making headlines for rushing on stage after Beck won Album of the Year over Beyonce's self-titled album. While later on in the ceremony during Kanye's performance, he flipped off the audience to show how he truly felt about the ceremony. In 2021, Kanye was also nominated for Best Contemporary Christian Music Album for his record, Jesus is King, though he still has not been seen attending the ceremony since 2015 for his protest. After Kanye won for his Contemporary Christian album though, he tweeted a video of him urinating on his award. So we're not really sure if he's ever going to be welcomed back, and it's not very Christian-like of you, Kanye. Also known as Ye, because he got approved to change his name legally to Ye. In case anyone wanted an update, that's a real thing. Moving up the ranks at number 3, we have comedian, actor, and producer Ricky Gervais. In 2020, Ricky had the important role of hosting the Golden Globe Awards ceremony. He is a comedian and well-versed actor with past experience in hosting award shows, so like, what could go wrong, right? Well, the answer is lots. Lots could go wrong. In the past, Ricky was praised for his very blunt and careless jokes, though his 2020 hosting gig was not met with the same reaction. In Ricky's opening speech, he made jokes about the racism in Hollywood and deeming the Hollywood Foreign Press Association to be blatantly racist. He then went on to joke about the several films being made about different assault cases that were going on. The audience was totally shocked by his speech, and the Academy was not amused. Because of his missed jokes and political commentary, the Golden Globes would go hostless the following year to purposely avoid another Ricky incident happening. That's when you know it's bad, when they're like, screw it, we're not having a host. Can't risk it. Moving on to one of the top spots, in second place is Tyler, the Creator. The 28-year-old musician originally began his career in the group Odd Future, but later on would turn solo and began making his own music. Tyler is now best known for his alternative hip-hop and neo-soul music genre. After years of making Billboard hits and quite a few albums, in 2019 Tyler would win his first Grammy for Best Rap Album. His win was met with conflict after the ceremony though. During public interviews he said he felt that his win was a backhanded compliment. He believes that his music does not fit in the rap category. The musician stated that he is disappointed that artists like him are put in the rap or urban category even if they don't fit. His hatred for the word urban would be brought up as he states it's just a politically correct way of saying a racial slur. Tyler went on to call out the Grammys for their treatment of black artists and would want to be recognized on a more mainstream level versus the urban and rap category that he is put in by default by the Academy. Tyler's blatant honesty did not get him publicly banned from the show, but he's not been seen at an awards show ever since. Finally at number 1 is Morgan Wallen. The American country singer and songwriter found his way to fame by competing on the talent competition show The Voice. The artist was scheduled to perform, present, and accept possible winning awards at the 2021 Billboard Music Awards. He was nominated for 6 awards this year, including Top Country Artist and Top Country Male Artist. Though months before the awards show was to take place, he was caught on camera saying a racial slur. Following this, the Billboard Music Awards would ban any involvement that he was supposed to have in the 2021 awards show. That being said, his nomination still stood and he went on to win 3 awards that would be presented to his producer. Now, this was not the only awards show that banned the singer for this incident. He was also banned from the Academy of Country Music Awards show as well. The singer is not new to controversy though, as his performance on Saturday Night Live was cancelled as he apparently broke COVID-19 safety protocols by attending a party the night before the show.